And we are back for segment 3 here on the Talking Hats. We let off our show the first 2 segments talking all football. We're going to switch gears completely here and get into some NBA talk, and then we're going to finish up with the dispute with the MLB and MLBPA. Get into maybe sports unions in general and go from there. So I'm kicking over you to get us started with the Wizards and let's run this thing down.
I'm glad Danny's back from his injury. In all honesty, if his 3-point shooting has improved, but what's really bothering me is these turnovers. They turn the ball over like in instances when they shouldn't be turning the ball over because the Atlanta Hawks scored on all those turnover baskets. It was an easy layup or a dunk or a 3-point shot.
Yeah, last
And
night in clutch time, they turned the ball over, I think, 3 straight possessions. They
yes,
had 3
and
bad turnovers late in the
and
game.
and Wes Unseld Jr., please stop shaking up your lineup. Please stop. Like Kispert is not a starter. I like him, but he needs to come off the bench. He's still learning. He needs to come off the bench. You need like proven scorers in the first quarter. Like you need to start Denny. Even Rui has actually showed because I think he's getting his legs back now. I think he's getting his legs back, and then start Gafford in the middle, then Kuz, and then start Ish Smith, and then
Last night, the guy that we've both been kind of hot and cold on is KCP. I
oh
think was he 7 for 7 or 8 for 8 from 3?
Oh he was. I think he was 8 for 8. You're right. I think he was. I don't think
So
he
he
missed
was
one.
on fire. I'm not going to argue with that starting appointment anymore. And the thing about him is he brings the energy, whether his shot is on or not. He does play hard on both ends of the court. So I can't argue with starting him anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, like with the KCP, I liked his defensive thing. That's why you have to put him in there because we do lack a lot of defensive spacing. Because when we're double teaming, our spacing needs to be better. Danny can't come out 3 feet and think the ball's not going to get swung over to an open Bogdanovich. He's going to nail it. Like you have to step a little bit within his range with the ball side. And you're 6'9", Danny. Jump up. Just jump. That's all you have to do is jump and try to tip the ball. You don't need to like stretch your arms out. And the thing is, like as we said in the previous show, without the unicorn playing, we do not know how this trade is good or bad yet because he hasn't played a game yet. But what this does show is the young talent that we do have on our team can be superstars in this league. That's what I feel because when they showed the stat of Rui, he improved his 3-point shooting from the last 2 seasons. He's shooting almost 50% above what he used to shoot. But what went down was his mid-range game. And they were saying that, and as I've always been saying, is if he can get that 3-point in and with the mid-range, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, the mid-range game is fine, but the NBA doesn't really. That's not really something that the NBA steers towards anymore, due to the analytics and all that. It says it's better to take a bad 3 than a good mid-range. That's how the percentages work out. I mean, I would argue it, but analytics say that it's better to play that way, so that's why they keep doing it. Yeah. Rui, like you said, he's getting his legs back. He had 19 last night. He's really getting it going. I wouldn't mind. I don't know if I want to see him starting, but his minutes, I'm okay with him getting increased minutes. Satoransky and Ish played the same amount of minutes last night, both at 17. Satoransky didn't score. Ish only had 4. Neto played 27 minutes. He only had 7 points, I believe.
Yeah.
I would like you said, he needs to get his rotation solidified. I would like to see Sato starting. I know he didn't score last night, but his size at the point is going to really help them out on both sides of the court. He's a great passer too. Neto doesn't. He's fine. He doesn't need to be starting though. He's an energy guy off the bench. That's the role I like to see him playing.
And I think they use Neto for more toughness in the point guard position. You know,
he's
like
so
when
small,
that's
a liability on defense.
It is, but he does guard pretty well too. But the problem is he gets called for those fouls when you hold him or try to. He argues a lot more, and I'm like, don't argue it. You're not like. I think what the Wizards need to do is stop arguing the call because you're not going to get it. You're just not. You rather just okay. If they don't call it, get back on defense, get the ball, and try to score again. Because the more you argue, you're one less man down, and they're gonna do, and then they're gonna swing it around. But yesterday's game, they should have never been down by 10 and lose by 3. Like I mean, they should have. If they minimize their mistakes, like their mistakes are so like fixable. Because Kuzma, like I don't know, he needs to understand that. I mean, he's becoming the new star of the Wizards.
He is. I like how he's blossoming into his role with the team being struggling right now and not being whole with Kristaps still out. He
Mhm.
is stepping up into that number one option role, and I'm hoping he can keep that going into next season. It's starting to look bleak here with them getting into the playoffs. They're in 11th right now, behind. They're behind Atlanta, who won, and there's who is it? Charlotte or somebody
Charlotte,
is.
yeah.
I might be
They're
making that up. I have the standings up here
well,
somewhere
I'll put it this way: like they needed to win yesterday's game
for
to have
Charlotte.
even a
Yeah.
glimpse of getting into the. It's not lost. I mean, if they can go on a run, if they can get their act together to go on a run, yes. But if if the unicorn does not play or does not even play this entire season, at the end of the day, you just have to evaluate what you have and see if you can move forward with it. Don't tank. Try to play as much because hey, you may never know. Because knee soreness, who knows what knee soreness is? Like, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, is it a tear that we don't know about, or they're just resting him because he's not game ready? I mean, at the end of the day, he hasn't played since getting injured in Dallas. So if he's not game ready, you're not going to play, which is understandable. But I also feel that it's hard to judge where this team's going to go without him in that piece. And Bradley Beal was like, well, he may stay, may not stay. He gave out a little nuggets here and there, but
He's not going anywhere. That's like the Aaron Rodgers to Denver thing. People can
mhm,
speculate all they want. I know he's going to Denver. Bradley Bill you can speculate about Bill all you want. He'll be back in DC because he that's where he can get the most money. He may care about winning and all that and legacy and all that, but at the end of the day, it's really about the money. So and with it being home, I know he's going to resign there. For me, if I'm the team, I don't. I think about whether or not I want to do that.
mhm.
It really boils down to do you think he's the guy that can get you over the top?
See,
With Kuzma, I don't know. Maybe with Kristaps, we'll see how Kristaps plays as he finishes out the year. If he shows that he can be the guy, like the third piece of that puzzle, then you go into next year and you take that chance.
mhm,
It doesn't. It's 5 years if it doesn't work out, and after that you can still rebuild.
mhm,
Um, Beal is a marquee player. Anywhere else he will be. He'll play great anywhere else.
mhm.
The only thing I worry about here is committing, making that much of a financial commitment to him.
Right.
Can he get you over the top?
And it's also like, do you really want to commit that much money to one player? And do you or do you want to spread the money around? That's also one thing we have to kind of look at. But in all honesty, like he's going to sign here. Why wouldn't you? At the end of the day, it's 200 and some $1 million or $100 million, depending on what you're going to get.
246 over 5 years.
Yeah. So if they're going to pay, I mean, you're set at that point. I mean,
That's a
what's
pretty
the,
easy decision.
yeah, I mean, and just, if you're gonna say you're gonna walk and try to get a ring, you're still risking like you're not gonna get 246 anywhere.
He can play that 5 year deal out and then try to catch on somewhere with the stacked team, like at the end of his career,
Hmm.
like guys tried to do with the Lakers this year. It's not quite going to work out,
No.
but he can do that at some
Yep.
point. Towards if he just wants to get a ring, if it doesn't work out here, I mean,
Hmm.
there in Washington,
Yeah,
it
and I
might.
think,
Who knows?
I mean, in all honesty, like they're just young defensively. They can score, but they just need to get the core pieces together. Like stop making these boneheaded mistakes. And once they stop making these boneheaded mistakes, I just feel that this team can compete with anybody. They can compete with anybody. It's
And
just
it's a learning experience this season for the coach. It's his first head coaching duties.
right.
Like you said, he is learning how to put a lineup together, how to work on the rotations. Going into next season, hopefully he'll have all this stuff ironed out. If he can go into next season with a better set rotation, that'll help the team out exponentially.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and I like Cassius Winston. I don't know if he's still. I don't know if he's there, but I just
I
think
don't need
his.
to see him on the court. I wouldn't miss him.
I just have a soft spot because I know he played for Michigan State and he played really well for them. But it was just one of those things. You're just like, man, like if he just gets an opportunity, he'll just be well. But if he's trade bait, I mean,
I don't even think that. I think he's G League bait.
G-
I don't.
yeah, I mean, they brought him up from the G League, so and rightfully so.
Yeah. So a guy that I've always been a fan of. This is another one of my. I have guys that I kind of glom onto. Kuzma was one of them. Guys I just like, and I can't even explain why. DeMarcus Cousins was one of those guys. He played with John Wall in Kentucky. I always wanted to see them team up with the Wizards. And so earlier this season, the Bucks gave him a 10-day contract. He played well, and they let him go. the Nuggets picked him up, and he has been playing extremely well out here. The Nuggets went on like a 7-game win streak after signing him. It might have been more than that, but they went on a run where they didn't lose the game. Last night he started, because I think, I don't know why Jokic was out, maybe a maintenance day or whatever. I don't know what the case was. He started last night. He had 29 points in
29
in 24 minutes.
Wow.
I'm not surprised by that, because I've always liked him. He's a guy that I mentioned at one point I thought the Wizards should look into bringing in. And it sucks that the center position is one of those ones that people don't really worry about anymore. But this is a guy who still has it. He had some injuries. He had an Achilles. He had a couple of knee injuries in there. But when healthy, he's a dominant player. In limited minutes here, he's been dominant coming off the bench behind Jokic. And he is the piece with them getting healthy down the stretch. He alone can take them over the top in the Western Conference. And I love what they did making that move. I love the way he looks here. I like the way the team is looking. Like they're still in 6th place, like a game or so behind Dallas. They might sneak up in the 5th, but I wish the Wizards would have considered making a move like that. I still want them to bring Monroe back.
Yeah, and see, that's what I don't understand is like Greg Monroe gives you that presence in the middle,
right?
And it's like, who's
Exactly.
making, and Tommy Shepard, like if you want to play money ball, let's call it money ball to save draft money or to save capital. Signing Monroe to an extended contract is not going to break the bank.
No.
And
he's on a G League. He'll take anything to be in the NBA.
Right.
He'll take nothing to have him on the roster.
And when he was at his prime, he was a dominant force.
He's a solid player.
Yeah, and you need, it's like this. You need Gil, you need the Gills, you need the Monroes to build that championship team. I don't see why. I mean, we've always stated that Gil needs to get more playing time when it's in certain situations.
I don't think he played last night, did he?
I don't think so. I think maybe I saw him once. Maybe I think, or
Might
maybe it was
a minute.
Yeah, and that's what it kind of grows into is when you're trying to build a championship team, you need pieces like that. And with a Greg Monroe, he'll bring the veteran presence and he can help Bryant and Gafford out in that position because there's no veteran in the center position to help him out. And Bryant, please stop taking 3-point shots. That's not your game. It never was. It never will be your game. Just concentrate in your. I mean, you can have a mid-range game. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can shoot the 18-foot shot. But I also believe be dominant in what you're good at. 3-point shots, and that's why I go against the grain when the analytics are there. Is for me, the easy 2 is better than the harder 3 because
for a center, yeah, always.
Right? And for me, I'm like, you're not a Kristaps Porzingis or Dirk Nowitzki or even a Jokic to jack it up like that to make it consistently. And that's not your game. Like if you're going outside your comfort zone just because you think you can, it's going to be a detriment, and it shows that. And the thing is, when he shoots the 3, there's no rebound. There's not an offensive rebound. It goes directly to the other team, and they're already on the break.
He would be the guy getting the rebound if he's out shooting. Then
exactly.
But the true test for whether or not they can make a run here, and where I would decide whether or not you tank or not, is really these next 4 games. You've got the Pacers, Clippers, Lakers, and Blazers. Those are all games that if you're a playoff team, you got to go out and get all those.
Yes.
I would settle for 3-1, but with their aspirations, they're not looking. They haven't mentioned anything about tanking. They're still trying to make a run. So fine, I'll take you at your word on that. You got to get these 4. These are 4 winnable games if you want to be a playoff team.
And they need to
freaking Lakers get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know what? So I made a comparison the other day, right? They have the same record. I mean, not right. I think they have the same record now.
They might still.
Yeah,
because the Lakers haven't been winning either. So.
No, so it's like if the Wizards played in the West, they'll make the playoffs.
Well, if they played against the Western Conference schedule all season, they wouldn't be where they are.
No, they probably wouldn't be where they are.
Let me see if they still have the same record: 28-34 for the Wizards, and the Lakers are 27-35. So they're right there neck and neck, and the Lakers are in 9th in the West. So they're still in the playoff mix. The Wizards are on the outside looking in right now, just like I said, just behind the Hornets. So this is it. It's buckle down time. If they go anything worse than 3-1 in this 4-game stretch, I think you got to go tank mode. I hate it, but it's time to start thinking about next season because this is where they have to make the move if they're going to make it. Because after that, they've got the Warriors, Nuggets, Knicks, Lakers again. I mean, they can win that. But
Yeah.
then the Rockets after that, but then the Bucks. So this is their time. It's
Yep.
buckle down, balls to the wall, all hands on deck, like Eddie was talking about last segment. It's all
Hmm.
hands on deck right now. You got to make
Yeah.
a run here.
And if you don't, then you can say bye bye to your
Yeah,
season and just say, all right,
mail it in.
let's
Start
go
planning
again.
vacation.
Yeah. Aruba, Jamaica,
All of
all of it, all the Caribbean countries,
it. All of it.
all of
So
that.
so I don't really have anything more to say about the Wizards. They're they were down big last night and they made a run to come back and then had those crucial clutch turnovers. But like I said, like you were saying with the rotation, it's going to come down to coaching and
Mm.
manning up. I mean, they got to man up here in this 4 game
Mm.
stretch.
Yeah, I think I tweeted out a while ago. I was like hashtag frustration
Yeah,
because
that's all that.
we can we know what the we know where this team can go and where they can be, and it's frustrating to see them kind of not get there. So I'm kind of like, let's see what happens. I mean, I think we kind of exuberated our entire energy, just putting it on them. So I'm just like, let's take a step back and kind of regroup and talk about something. Let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, so like I said, the Nuggets have been hot here lately. Tomorrow night they've got the Pelicans coming to town. Then we've got the Warriors coming down the night after, and then they go out to Sacramento. This is a big stretch for them too. They're in the
Mhm.
6th seed, but they're playing very well. They can easily. The Pelicans are playing better since they got McCollum, so that'll be a
Mhm.
fun game. I might have to go check a look at going to that one. Then the Warriors, like I said, coming to town too. I might have to look at that one too. See how the tickets are looking for that one. But they've got the Warriors twice in the next 4 games, so
Yeah.
this is they might be able to make a break point too, as far as seeding goes in the Western Conference. But their lineup is so good, especially with Cousins. They'll be solid here and maybe even finish out fifth
Is
or
Jamal
sixth.
Murray back
He's
from
not
his?
he's not back yet, but
Mhm.
they should both be back later this month.
Mm.
So,
And that's going to be a dangerous team. I
yeah,
mean, with now with Cousins added in the rotation, I think it gives them more depth and more toughness. And I
which
think they
they
may
didn't have at center until they got him.
exactly because Jokic was doing everything himself, right?
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, like now he can take a break, come back in fresh,
yeah.
and then you would have to think. And I think they might even start both them, Cousins and Jokic.
I don't know if they would do that, but that the reason they could do it is because they both have stretch games. So
Yes,
it's not like either guy will be, and then they both are good low post players too. So they
yes,
could easily play opposite each other. I don't know if they do it due to lack of depth at the position, but
right.
there might be a matchup somewhere down the road, even in a playoff run, where you want that kind of size in the court at the same time, and they
Mhm.
have the option to do it because their games are both versatile. So
It's almost like when the Memphis Grizzlies had Paul Gasol and Zach Randolph, and they played both of them, and they were like, I mean, they were
Divas.
consistent. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I mean, those
Yeah.
teams. I really wanted Memphis to go into the championship, but unfortunately, like, I think they just ran out of gas. They played so hard, they just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And I think Denver can do that. Like Denver now has the possibility to go all the way. I mean, you have to
They
talk about.
absolutely do.
I mean, listen, yeah, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they're not like they're beatable, but at the end of the day, like the only team that can beat them, I think, are the Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Those are the only two teams I can foresee putting up a challenge, even to the Suns. I would say. I think the only those three teams. They when they play each other, I think it's an evenly fair match because it's going to go back and forth defensively and offensively. They both match up really well, so it's going to be who makes the mistakes first. And I think they match up really. So it's going to be a great basketball in the West. If you're going to watch any basketball, I'll just say watch the West. I
Yeah,
mean,
and if my team, the Nuggets, couldn't win a championship this year, if I had to pick anybody but them to win it, I would want to see Chris Paul get a ring. I don't
yeah,
know if the Suns, they have the best record in the league right now, and they were having that kind of run last year too, though, and they didn't end up closing it out. I don't know if they have enough to get it done, but he's such a good player. He's had such a good career. I don't want that to be the reason why people at the end of the day argue against him and his greatness. I'd love to see him get a ring if my team couldn't do it. He'd be the one
yeah.
player I like to see close it out, get it done.
Yeah, he deserves one. I mean, I think he deserves one than a lot more
He's so
players in
good.
the league. Yeah, I mean, It's just you know, as we always say, it's the due factor is due. I mean, he's due a ring. I mean, it's about time that
He's
they
earned
get
it.
one.
I mean,
Yeah, he's
he's
definitely.
so good. That team before him, the Suns were atrocious, and they had Booker, they had Aiton. They were a terrible team until they got one guy. That
Yeah.
one guy turned everything around. So I want to see that one guy get the ring he
Hmm.
deserves. He does
And
deserve it.
they almost got it last year. It's just Giannis was just
So
a
close,
different
but
animal.
Giannis even hurt went out there and he would have been the guy I would have chosen last year that I would have liked to see get the ring,
Hmm.
and he got it. And Chris
Yeah.
Paul is that guy this year that I would like to see get it.
Hey, it may happen, man. It may happen because the way the Suns are playing. I mean, yes, I said that Denver and Golden State can compete, but they need to go on that next level. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
It'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to
definitely.
watch.
So we can go ahead and switch gears here and get into the MLB lockout. I know that's something that you've been champing at the bit to go ahead and get into that one. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling on that.
Manfred is going to ruin. He's ruining baseball. The owners are ruining baseball. If people don't know, I think it was the '94 strike that happened in the MLB back in the early '90s or the middle '90s. Baseball was had a trajectory where people were actually watching the sport.
Yeah,
When that lockout happened, it ruined everything. It literally derailed, just like hockey. Hockey was picking up, and when the lockout happened, it took them
absolutely
such
right.
a it took them such a long time because now if you look at it, they were now they're finally getting on ESPN. They're finally getting on other channels with hockey to
Yeah,
grow the brand. And if it wasn't for Ovechkin,
TNT now. Yeah,
yeah, even TNT. Like so, if it wasn't for Ovechkin, Crosby, that group of players that were drafted a couple of, like shit was like 10 years ago, I would say, and they grew that brand. Baseball, the one thing about baseball is they're not growing the brand anymore. They're just focused on certain things because you don't see like commercials for baseball. You don't, and if you do, it's very rare.
yeah.
And the owners are being like I don't know what it is at this point in time. And the one thing I have to respect about the MLB, the Players Association, they stick together. If one
Strongest
says
union
no,
in sports.
hmm,
Yeah.
if one says no, they all say no. And I think it's about the education they get from they understand that hey, we're going into something and it doesn't affect one, it affects all of us as
And
players.
it goes back to when Donald Fear was in charge of the MLBPA. He kept that union together. He is the reason why they are where they are today. And it's because, like you said, the guys aren't looking out for me. I'm not looking out for me right now. I'm looking out for me in the future. I'm looking out for the other guys in the future. It's about the strength of the players and the players getting what they deserve. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about we. And that's how they've always handled these situations, whether it be strike or lockout. They stick together no matter what. The NFL has never had that. In the most recent labor negotiations, there was so much beeping back and forth on the inside between the players. And when you have that, you're going to end up with deals where the players are getting screwed, like the NFL. Their past two CBAs, the players have gotten screwed. In the first one, the players were jealous because the rookies were coming in getting big deals and they hadn't played. And so, what do? You cheat the rookies out of these big deals and thinking the money's going to go to the veterans, and it doesn't. So now nobody's getting paid. The rookies aren't getting paid and the veterans aren't getting paid. It's so stupid. That was so stupid of them to do that. Sam Bradford was the last quarterback to get a big rookie deal. Now you don't see those anymore.
Oh.
You have those slotted 5-year deals for first round picks where they're locked in to a deal for 5 years when they could be getting big money. You can't get the NFL career as a short. So they're you can't get those years back. And ranting about the NFLPA, I could do that all day. So you better take over here. I'm getting
Yeah.
I'm getting hot. I hate it how they do it.
Because I feel that the NFL needs to take a page out of the MLB
No
playbook.
question.
And they need to maybe do the meeting of the minds. I don't know if how unions can meet and be like, hey, this is how we construct our meetings. This is how we kind of get, because they got, okay, so the brand is the brand. You don't see baseball extending their season. Even though back, you don't see baseball saying, oh, we're going to do this.
They
You
need to
don't see
shorten their
baseball.
season.
Yeah. I mean, they have it was like 160 some games or what?
162.
162. You
They
don't
could
say,
do
oh,
62 less.
yeah, they can. Right, we're not gonna. Are we gonna do like 100 and some? No, they keep. At one point in time, yes, it was lesser games because that was long. I was like in the good old days of the 1800s, and but they wanted to grow the brand, so they extended the games, and that's just tradition. The NFL, extended games because back in the good old days, it wasn't a 16 game season. It was less than that. But 16 games is what we know. But now they include 17. When does it stop? As Eddie said, like people are playing through a lot.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand that physically. Like you didn't see Eddie's hands because if you see his thumbs, you don't know how well he can rotate or if he has any other
Now,
crookedness in his thing.
thankfully, by the grace of God, he made it out of the league healthy. He played 9 years in the league and he made it out healthy. He doesn't have any lingering or nagging issues. And that
Mhm.
thank you for that. He, got in and he
Mhm.
did what all guys should do these days. Get in and get your money and get out
Yep.
healthy.
And the thing is, and that's the thing that I don't understand is how much is too much? How much are you willing to bet and how much are you willing to lose? Because you have a lot to lose as a player. Because at the end of the day, you have to treat yourself as a business too now. Because it's sad to say that is if I was playing in the league, I will say 5, 6 years max. Make my
Right.
money
I'll
and
play that
gone.
first contract and I'm out.
Yeah, and I'm
I
out.
mean, I don't. I mean, because if you have $1 million, you can earn like $100,000 a year off that money. So you don't
Mhm.
have to work. You know, just
And
get a
it's
few
not
million
about.
and get out.
And also, if you get good endorsement deals, you just
Yeah,
live off the
that's it.
endorsements and keep your
Not
NFL
even touch
money
your money.
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
think
don't,
Grunt does that.
yeah, Gronk,
Yeah,
and don't make stupid investments, okay? Like in all honesty, like you have to you have to understand where your money is at all times. And
yeah.
I think that's also another issue is they don't train them properly, even though they have all these symposiums, they have all this. People get screwed over in the NFL a lot more than any other league that I've seen. And like clear case is Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis made all of his money and he trusted somebody from the NFL, got screwed over, lost his money, went into crime because he thought, and now he's going to serve some time. It's a sad
Some
story.
kind of fraud thing, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I think he was defrauding his own NFL players for like I think insurance, like health insurance or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I remember the story. I'm not sure the details of it, but I remember
Yeah,
all that going down though.
I know it had to do something with health, but I don't know what kind of health it got into. But and that's sad because they need to stop because I'm just so heated about all this stuff because I like watching. I mean, I'm the very few people that like to watch baseball because one summer when I was a kid, I just sat down and watched. There's a lot of strategy that goes involved, and it's a fun sport when it's entertaining. Now it's not going to be entertaining anymore because they're taking things out of the game. Like if you want to improve the strike zone, okay, fine. Get like Hawkeye or whatever. That's fine. I understand that, but don't ruin the brand.
I
Which
don't
is
want them to get the DH in the National League. I don't. If they make that change, I'll hate that. I like the way it is now. I like
how the
having two
pitch.
different leagues. They're talking about having the DH in both leagues now. I don't want that.
I kind of
I
like
like
that actually.
I like seeing the pitchers hit because some guys take it seriously.
That's
Like
true.
Scherzer, he's a
Mhm.
solid hitter. There's another guy who's he bats it.
Otani.
Yeah, well, of course, but there's a guy in the National League who has over a 200 average, and he takes batting seriously. I can't remember, maybe Baumgartner, one of those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. I think it is Baumgartner because
But I like seeing pitchers hit. It's different, so I'll
it
hate it if
is.
they make that
I
change.
mean, if you look at it, I mean, back in the good old days, that they used to. I mean, in the National League, that's how it started, and I don't know why. I mean, the AL brought it in because they didn't want their pitchers to get hurt. Because back in the day, people used to throw at you like on
Well, and they were
purpose.
they were two different leagues at one point, which
Yeah,
merged together and to form
correct,
the MLB. So they had different rules, and then
correct.
they that's one rule that both sides didn't adopt. The National League
Hmm.
kept their pitchers batting rule,
Hmm.
and the L kept their DH. But with the what I said, I wasn't gonna go back down the NFLPA route, but I've given D. Smith a lot of flack about his inability to keep the union unionized
Hmm.
and really buckle down and get better deals for the players. But there's only so much you can put on one person, and there's only so much that one person can do if the players aren't willing to stick together. Um, if I wish I could be a player representative. I never played, so that's not in my future. But I would do more to try to keep these guys together because what is the league without the players? You can go the scab route again, like the owners did in '87, and have strike players and all that, but nobody's watching them. They're
Hmm.
trying to do that again. The NFL is America's pastime. If these
Yeah.
guys stuck together once, just one time, to
Oof.
fight for what the players deserve. It would be so much better for the future, for them, for now, and the future players. You could get things like healthcare for retired players. You could get
Mhm.
all these things. You could get higher salaries. Like they're always complaining when they see NBA deals coming out, and then
Yeah.
MLB deals talking about we're the number one sport and we don't get. Well, of course you don't get paid because y'all don't stick together.
And
Stick together once, and you'll get
yeah.
that. All it takes is one time.
But why do you feel that the NFL doesn't stick together? Because
Because
is it
they're only
because
worried about right now. Because careers are so short.
Mhm,
MLB players, you can play 20 years, no
mhm.
problem. In the NFL, you might only get one.
And that's
So
true.
it's hard
Yeah.
to keep guys who know that their career might only be one season stuck. It's hard to keep that together because the average career is 3.5 years. If you have labor strikes that goes on for a whole year, that's a 30-year career gone
Yeah, that's
over
true. Yeah.
over a labor strike.
Right.
So it's hard to keep guys together in that sense. But you got to think about the bigger picture.
Mhm.
It can't just
Yeah.
one time not make it about you, and then you'll be set for the future.
Who did you say was the player rep for the MLB? Oh god,
DeMaurice Smith.
yeah.
Oh, MLB.
No, for MLB, yeah, yeah.
For right. Oh, it's Tony Clark right now.
Tony
Tony
Clark.
Clark.
I mean, previously when they said
Donald
everything,
Fair.
yeah. If Donald Fair can go and teach the NFLPA how to run their stuff,
He went somewhere else. Was it hockey maybe to represent another players union after the MLB? Let me look that up real quick. You can keep going.
yeah, because I just feel that like unions in general are not
It
like
was the NHL.
it
Oh
was
yeah.
NHL, yeah. Different unions do things differently, but they're all the same. And when it comes to sports, is because you're protecting yourself for you're just protecting yourself because you don't want a raw end of the deal. Because if you do that, then that means future growth is hampered. They're just looking at it right now, and now the current CBA for the NFL is horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrendous, and they're looking at to extend more games and more playoff openings and more
Yeah. They're
preseason.
looking at expanding the playoffs. Yeah.
And you're like, how much is too much? Because at that point, you're just like a team who's 3-7 can make the playoffs. and one year Arizona was like that, I think, and they like
I love football, but I don't want to see an 18-game season. It's gonna happen though. There's
it
no
is.
question. It's going. That's set in stone. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary. I don't need it. Expanded playoffs will be fine. I would be fine with going back to 16 games and just expanding the playoffs a little bit. That'll get your revenues up there too. You might even get more revenue for playoff games because you're not paying the players as much for playoff games, and you can sell more TV rights. So
Right. And
it's not gonna happen, but whatever. That'd
we
be
just
my
want to,
idea.
yeah, that's a great idea, actually. And can we just suggest to have the Super Bowl on a Saturday?
That's
I
another thing
mean,
that's never gonna happen, but
if you
or at
look at it
least on
right,
President's Day weekend, so we can get the next day. But
or make Monday or start or start it early. Start at like 4 o'clock or something, or 1 o'clock, and then like then you have the rest of the day to day drink or do something. Like
yeah,
having it so late. I mean, yes, we're old talking heads, and I've been saying this for years and years and years. If they keep it on Saturday in that city, the revenue from that day and the next will still go to that city.
mhm,
And if you're taking Monday off, you're leaving. You can spend an extra day in the city on a Sunday and then leave later on.
yeah,
I mean, I try to propose. I was all proponent for that, but
yep, yep.
it's never going to happen. But
No,
wishful
we
thinking.
can dream.
We can dream as all we can. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I've got the first two shows from today with Eddie Royal are posted now to YouTube. I'm going to get those up on our podcast hosting platforms as well later on. But they're up there for your viewing pleasure. I've tweeted that out. I also tweeted at him to give us a retweet. So hopefully he does that, and we can expand this thing a little bit. But those are two great interviews. We got a lot of content there. We
Mhm.
let him do a majority of the talking in those because that's all again information that I didn't know. I was always there at the games, but you don't know what's going on the field just watching in. So it was good to get that insight. I love hearing those battle stories from the league and all that. But those are up, so y'all can check those out. Do we have any other topics to get into today? I know you want to. We can mention the Caps real quick. They're kind
Yeah,
of stinking it up here lately, so I don't. They won. They beat Carolina.
they
Was
beat
it 4-0?
Carolina.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just being. The goalie needs to be addressed. The goalie
yeah.
situation needs to be addressed. I like Vitek
Whole B,
Vanacek.
whole B.
Hey, I mean, There's been talks about, him coming back,
It's kind
but
of died down here lately, but who knows what as the deadline approaches what they'll do.
see, I like Vitek Vanacek. I mean, I liked him over Samsonov since day one. I mean, I think Vitek has he's a little bit older, a little bit more, kind of like a seasoned veteran into it. But, defensively, we need to step it up on certain things. And also, like, stop making boneheaded mistakes, just like the Wizards. Stop, like,
Is
you guys are better
Bamford
than that.
back? I think I
Yeah,
saw. Okay,
mhm.
yeah.
He came
So
back. And their injury stuff is coming. I mean, they're
right,
finally getting healthy at the right moment,
yeah.
and that's going to take time. And beating Carolina is huge. I mean, they're no
And
pushover.
Carolina's
So
good. They
yeah,
might be in first place. So
they are actually. You're absolutely right.
so
They are in first place.
that's a big win. As they get healthy, I expect them to come together. Laviolette's not some pushover coach. He's a smart guy. He knows his stuff. I expect him to bring it together. I don't have to worry about him and his lineups. I know he knows what he's doing. I put a bet on them to win it all earlier this season.
Oh, okay.
I'm sticking by. It was like a dollar or something, but long odds at
But
that point.
still,
So I fully expect them to be there in the end. They've had injury concerns. The goaltending situation, them being healthy should help that. I would like to see them make a move for Holtby, but if they don't, I still expect them to be fine.
yeah.
I'm putting everything, all their struggles on the health concerns that they've had.
Yeah,
I think they'll
Brian
be fine.
McCullough. Yeah, because Brian McCullough said that in the past they were buyers because that's what they needed, and he's like, for this team, we're not going to be doing the same kind of rigmarole or the same kind of like
Yeah,
strategy in years past. We're going to look at it and be like, we're good where we're at. We just need to make
I
a few
agree.
tweaks. Yeah, and at the end of the day, they're good, as you said. They're getting healthy, and we haven't seen a full healthy team until the Carolina game.
Yeah.
So once we see a full healthy team, who knows what can happen? We can be number one at the end of the season. Going into the playoffs.
And like you said before, I don't need them to be number one.
Right.
Just once they get in,
It's
that's when
just
it's on.
they need to be in the number 4 position or number 5, and that's it, or even sixth. I can say the 4 to 6, and that's it.
Just get in, and then
Just
that
get
veteran
in.
experience will take over. They're
Exactly.
all season cup champions, so
hmm And also, I wanted to ask everybody: do you like our new logo? Tell us in our new intro, please, because
I
we
will take
tweeted it
any
out.
and all feedback. Bring it.
Yeah, like we never no one actually said anything when we updated it. So please tell us if do you like it or do you want us to.
I don't know if you saw. There was a comment on one of our YouTube videos from a guy named John Tyler. Um, Somebody he was on there hating. I know who that is. He doesn't know
Uh-huh.
that I know who it is. It's one of my old coworkers named Ty. I earlier last week I sent him. He was asking about it because David told him
Mhm.
about our podcast and he asked for the link, so I sent it to him.
Uh-huh.
I guess he created a fake YouTube name to go in there, post a hater comment.
What do you?
But I don't even. It's not bad. It's just teasing me about the previous show when I said I was 5'8". He was saying, "No, Dale's not 5." Whatever. I'm
Oh.
taller than him for one thing. So shut up, old man. So watch this, Ty. And I know it's you. But thanks for watching. Keep watching.
Yeah,
I don't care. You can bring the hate. I'll take the
yeah.
hate. As long as you're thinking about me. I don't, as long as I'm on your mind, I'm doing the right thing. So bring all comments, feedback. We'll take all of it. But
hmm
thank you for supporting us and watching and listening. Please like and subscribe.
hmm
You got anything else, or can we go in and wrap it up?
We can wrap it up, man. I mean,
Good deal. We've had a good long run today, and for me, it's been an enjoyable experience. So I hope it is for y'all too. Talking to my brother on the first two, and then running down the Wizards here. Hopefully next week we have some more cheerful things to talk about in this next 4-game stretch. And I expect it. I think they'll bring it together. I think the Caps will bring it together. I expect the Nuggets to be good. And then next week we can get into. We wanted to talk about this week about the quarterback situations for both the Broncos and the Commanders. We'll get into that next week and go from there.
Yep. And then that's it for us, man. Thanks again for joining us and supporting, and peace and love.
Peace and love. Thank y'all. Talking Hats. We are out.
Out.